When our preteens and teens learn to read in a second or third or fourth language, do they need to learn reading from scratch? And if they can decode that language, do they really understand what they are reading? Find out the answer in this video. Now, our preteens and teens are expected to know how to read in the school language already, and they should be at a stage where they read to learn in their strongest language. Now, learning to read in an additional language and understanding what they read is not as fast forward as many think. If this language uses the same alphabet, they can easily transfer their decoding or reading skills to the new language. Once they have learned how to pronounce the letters and the letter chains in the text and how to articulate words and sentences, they will be able to read and probably sound out the words pretty well in the new language. Now, allow me a short parenthesis. It is very common for multilingual children to be better at reading in the school language than in their additional language when they learn to read in these languages successively, so one after the other. This is called asynchronous literacy, and it can be that our children can read a text like on the right-hand side in the school language, but with regards to the home language or any additional languages they learn to read later, they are able to only read much easier texts. I talk about this in my online course for parents of 4 to 10-year-old children. I link to it in the description. And I also link to an interview about this with Dr. Sabine Little. Now, there are many possible scenarios of when and how our children learn to read in multiple languages. But let's focus on the one where our children who already can read learn a new language. So they are experienced readers already, but need to figure out how this new language works. Now, preteens and teens have the advantage that their overall background knowledge is broader than the one of a 4, 5, 6-year-old. They use their strongest language in various contexts already and have usually built a considerable vocabulary. This allows them to link what they learn now in the new language to what they already know. They are familiar with the language structure in the stronger language, and they are used to verbal reasoning. And what they might be struggling with now is to link what they know in the stronger language to the new language. And this starts with understanding the new vocabulary, what words mean in different contexts actually, and how words and sentences are formed and used. If the new language shares the same alphabet with the stronger language, they might be good at sounding out the new words, but very likely don't always grasp the meaning of what they are reading. Now, their advantage is now that they can use dictionaries to help bridge this gap. They can try to paraphrase what they understand, that's to say it in other words, to find out if what they think is the content and meaning of the text is true or not. And we can help them by letting them explain what they read in their stronger language to verify their understanding. Here are now some tips on how to help them with reading in an additional language that can also be useful for teachers. My first tip is read the text out loud with them. Even if they can read independently already, hearing themselves and others sound out the new words and sentences helps them with intonation, pronunciation, and understanding of the syntax. And you can already find out what words they struggle with, what structures they struggle with, and help them with understanding them by using them in other contexts, or bridging between the new and their other languages. Second tip. Let them choose a text about a topic they already know in the school language, and find also out what new words mean thanks to the context. Third tip. To find out if a text is at their level of competence, invite them to read a page, silently or out loud. If they can grasp the meaning thanks to the context, despite not knowing all the words, and they are not demotivated when looking them up, it's okay. If they struggle and feel overwhelmed, try to support them with making a list of the words they find difficult and find other contexts where they can use them. Using new words in context that we understand helps to memorize them better. Fourth tip, when reading more complex texts, they can learn some techniques that allow them to not get demotivated and keep reading. Like, for example, dividing these texts into sections or chunks so that they don't feel overwhelmed. Or we can give them questions about sections of the text that they can easily answer. If you are a teacher, you can check keywords or word lists about the topic beforehand so that your students can look them up in their stronger language or languages before they read the text in class. And maybe they can also find other contexts where they are used to get familiar with the word. If you use this as a translanguaging activity, you can invite students who share the same languages to discuss the content in any other language that facilitates their understanding of the text. And as a next step, invite them to formulate coherent answers to the questions in the language of the lesson. Now, depending on the level of fluency of your students, you can prepare some prompts or sentence starters for them that make answering the questions in the group much easier for them and more motivating. And yes, I talk about groups. Working in small groups encourages also the most reluctant reader to share about what they understand and think. In this other video, Yoshito shares what you can do to help your younger children understand what they are reading. And if you are looking for more quick and easy activities for all ages, have a look at our toolbox for multilingual families and the Parent's Guide to Raising Multiliterate Children. You can find the links in the description. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe to our channel to get notified when we publish a new video. Have fun with your languages!